what does it truly mean to serve? Is leadership about power or about responsibility? Welcome to Your Stewardship, a compelling radio program that shines the spotlight on individuals in positions of service and the impact they've made or are still making on the people they serve. From public officials to community leaders, from the health sector to education and beyond, we ask the tough questions. Have they been accountable? Have they delivered? Have they truly served? This is more than just a conversation. It is a moment of reflection, transparency, and truth. Join us as we explore real stories, real challenges, and real outcomes, because stewardship is not just a title, it's a duty. Your stewardship, service, accountability, and impact.
Hello and welcome to Your Stewardship, the accountability platform where we'll pull back the curtain on leadership to examine the weight of the mantle and the depth of legacy. I am Remy Allen. Today we are interrogating the intersection of intelligence, legislation and public trust. Our guest is a man who transitioned from the shadows of national intelligence to the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly. A former Department of State Services operative, a private sector strategist, and a former member of the House of Representatives representing Akoko Southeast, Akoko Southwest. Today we ask, how did the spy navigate this stamp? What promises were left on the floor of the Ninth Assembly? And what tangible impact remains in the hills of Akoko? Welcome, Honorable Adejoro Adeogun. It's great to have you on Your Stewardship.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
All right, let's start from the very beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
I'm sure you're aware I'm from Akoko, in Akoko Southwest local government area of Ondo State. I was born in Lagos. Attended secondary school in Akoko. Attended University of Ibadan, the Manchester's Business School in the United Kingdom. I had the benefit of serving Nigeria in the Department of State Service. I served as the Chief Security Officer to the Governor of Rivers State in 1999. That's 27 years ago. I served as the Managing Director of the Rivers State Waste Management Agency. That's another 14 years ago. I served as a member of the House of Representatives, and I believe I did exceedingly well representing our people. And I think by the grace of God, I'm presently trying to represent our people in the National Assembly. Presently, I'm seeking the face of God and the face of the APC members of Ondo North Senatorial District for their mandate to enable represent Ondo North and the Senate in the 11th Assembly, which will start in June 2027.
All right, let's go to your time in DSS. You spent years there, an agency that is defined by secrecy and discretion. How easy or difficult was it for you to transition to the loud public and often performative world of Nigerian politics? How easy was it?
Well, first I need to explain that, working in intelligence service requires a lot of training, a lot of exposure. And I would say that I'm one of the best trained intelligence officers Nigeria has ever produced. And presently I have a unique advantage, and I try to tell people I have a unique experience. I've served as an intelligence producer, as an analyst in this Department of State Services. As a Chief Security Officer to the Governor of Rivers State, I was an intelligence consumer, which means what was produced by the intelligence agency will be sent to the governor, and I had the benefit of interpreting for him and being able to handle. And then as a member of the National Assembly, the Ninth Assembly, I served as a supervisor. So I've gone through the entire intelligence value chain. So it's a unique experience that not very common in. I think especially at this point in time when Nigeria is facing a lot of security challenges, I think my experience will be of immense benefit to Nigeria as a country.
So what role, if any, did your intelligence background play in your duties as a legislator?
First, one of the things you learn in intelligence is about learning to keep your mouth shut and listening a lot more. One of the major problems with Nigerian politics is that politicians are not very patient people, and I have patience in abundance. I learned to listen because it's something that's been part of my training, it's been part of my lifestyle, to listen to people, to consult widely, and that politics and governance is about teamwork, because you can't be an intelligence officer if you can't work with a team. I learned to work in a team, and so it's been part of my life to work as a team, to listen to everybody. So if I work with people, no matter how little the person is, I know from my intelligence background that you should listen, because even a fool will sometimes have a waste of his foolishness. So I listen a lot.
That's quite nice. Let's look at your foundation. What is the passion behind the Trinity?
Well, my training is basically about service, and there's a unique thing you learn from the intelligence agencies and from most security services. The fact that your loyalty is to Nigeria first, before any other person. If you are, we always say that if there's a conflict between your loyalty to your boss and your loyalty to Nigeria, your loyalty to Nigeria should come first. If there's a conflict between loyalty to yourself and loyalty to Nigeria, Nigeria should come first. So I've learned to take Nigeria as number one, as my priority, and it's a guiding thing for me.
It's a great guiding thing for you. During your campaign for the 9th Assembly, you leaned heavily on your security expertise, which you've also spoken about. Which specific bills or interventions did you champion that have moved the needle beyond mere rhetoric?
Well, okay, let me start. During my campaign for the 9th Assembly, my priority was offering people an opportunity to be my godfather.
Okay.
You see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that most politicians have godfathers. And so when you're put in a position by your godfather, your loyalty is to your godfather, not to my people. I was selected by the people. I was propelled by the people. And so I served for 4 years, dedicating every moment of my service to the service of the people, doing so many things just to make the people comfortable. So the priority then were twofold. Looking at legislation that will the security of the individual. And I remember that there was a bill that I sponsored, which was to allow genuine Nigerians that are vetted to bear firearms to protect them. And I see older view today that the security climate is imbalanced. Criminals have access to weapons, legally or illegally. Then people who should defend themselves do not have to. So it is an unbalanced scale. And I felt that Nigerians should have a balanced scale. If you have a weapon at your home and bandits try to invade your home, at least you'll be able to defend yourself before help comes. But right now, we're at the mercy of bandits. And I think that it's something that I will pursue going forward, because I believe that every Nigerian has a right to defend himself.
I quite remember that that's your agitation then, that people should own guns. But some consequential voices have also said if you allow everyone to own a weapon so as to protect themselves, they will also use it for something else. Some of them can start using it to rob or to even kill, or to especially those who have anger issue. At any point in time, you can just, because you have the opportunity, you have the license to carry firearms, you can just use it. How do you just oppose this to?
Okay, now advocating for access to weaponry does not mean that it's access to everybody. There are conditions attached to it. Character checks, background checks, security checks, mental checks. You're checking people's character well-being, mental well-being, and state of mind. So weapons will not be approved for people who have anger issues. Weapons will not be approved for anyone with poor eyesight. Weapon will not be approved for anyone who does not have training on handling firearms. And weapon will not be approved for anyone who has criminal records. So there are a lot of background. So there were, preconditions. So it's not like anybody can just go there. And of course, if you're under 18 years old, you're not allowed to be licensed. And then we must add to it that Licensing is for weapons that cannot be concealed, not for concealable weapon. So you can't go and buy a Beretta pistol and ask for license for it. You can't get be licensed for an assault weapon. You can only be licensed for a double barrel weapon, hunting rifles or air rifles.
Okay, let's look at your time at the Senate. Beyond empowerment ceremonies and distributing items, what structural change did your 4 years in the House bring to the economic landscape of your federal constituency?
I'm going to mention a few, and then I'm going to start from education. Before I got elected, I noticed there was a problem in my federal constituency, and that's a problem of teenage pregnancies, and then a lot of young ladies who were either not brilliant, but for some reason, either due to poverty or mistakes, had children and were unable to pursue their education. And there was a college of education in Ifirakuku, and I offered 3 years scholarship to people to study there. And I can say in 4 years, we were able to train at least 600 people. A number of these people have been employed by Ondo State government as teachers today. They had no hope of going to school, but they all had access to education because education was close to them and it was at no cost to them. That was first. Secondly, I made sure that people had direct access to me. I appointed people in every ward, at least 2 people in every ward in the federal constituency. So I maintained 4 constituency offices in Ishua, Oka, Akumba, and Oba. There were 4 constituency offices. For every legislator, you're required, you're mandated to have one, but I had 4 because I wanted people to have access to me. So there was direct access. I've had the same phone number since 2004. So it was 22 years ago that I maintained one number, and even the Akarasela in my constituency had access to that number. They could call me at any time and I will answer them. I had direct interaction with farmers. Some of the people I call my political leaders today are farmers, wine tippers, because I could see the value in them. I could see the wisdom that they have that is beyond the education and beyond the politics. And I'm able to tap into these. So I'm grassrooted because I did directly with people at the grassroots. I see their problems, I identify with their problems, and I try to solve their problems.
What would you say was responsible for you not returning to the 10th Assembly?
Politics of godfatherism. I'm a politician who is hugely independent-minded. I cannot be controlled by anybody. Control means that I have my own independent thought, and I feel like I am in politics for a purpose, and the purpose is to serve the people, not to serve a godfather. And for as long as you have such free minds, most political leaders don't like independent-minded people. They don't like people who are populists, and I appear to be populist. Politicians don't like that. Politicians like people who come around and treat them like KBAs come and prostrate every morning. But I've always said it. My godfather are the people, the ordinary people. And so, I'm sure a lot of people in Ondo State knew the controversy surrounding my inability to return to the 10th Assembly. And that's, at least in the whole of Nigeria, my constituency was the only place where primaries was held in Akure, outside the constituency. So that tells a lot of stories.
All right, but now you want to go to the Senate. As if godfather isn't gone, don't you think that might also play another role? What have you changed? What?
I believe it will, but I think, first, teach a man to use his left hand in old age. I'm still independent-minded. I believe that God is the ultimate giver of power. No matter how strong you are, no matter how many godfathers you have, if God says it is not your time, it is not your time. I am not a desperate politician who require public office to serve or to feed my family. I need public service to give to the people. And at every point in time, I wake up every night, pray to God and ask for one thing. God, use me as a vessel to bring light to my people. Use me as a vessel to bring development to the people that want to sent. I do not pray to God to make me a senator so I can feed my family or anything. No, God has provided for all that. I'm asking for an opportunity to serve the people. And if I veer away, if I change my focus from the people to an individual, I'll lose the plot. So I'm focused on the people, and that's the way democracy should be practiced. It should be people-based. Unfortunately, we're in a country now where, first the voters are not matured enough to be able to deal with that, and then the political environment is not mature enough and robust enough, for people, the best views to be heard. But I believe, I can say this without any sense of modesty, that I know everyone who's running for Senate in that under North Senatorial District. And in terms of qualification, in terms of experience, in terms of value proposition, I am miles ahead of every one of them.
We're succeeded by Adejoro Adeogun. If we look at your manifesto in 2019, yes, what is the one major promise you admit remains unfulfilled? And why should the people of Akoko accept the reasons for that gap?
I fulfilled everything I promised, and I did a lot beyond that. I believe in performing in what I call the baker's dozen. For everyone, the dozen is 12. For a baker, it is 13. That's my maxim. Always give an extra. So I did beyond what I promised. And because I'm able to live it, I can assure people that I learned from so many things. From the past, from from other people. From even my own mistakes, and I'm a much more improved person. I've had 4 years to, cement my business as well, so I'm not economically dependent on any public office, and I'm able to deliver, to give the people the best they can have. Give them the kind of representation that will make Ondo North the pride of Ondo State and the pride of Nigeria.
All right, sir. Now another election is coming, and the economic situation is one thing that people are also looking at. A lot of people feel that things are not working the way it should, that promises are not yet fulfilled. And some other people have also talked about voter apathy and the fact that there is this Diboko Stebe kind of a thing. Is this the kind of politics that we should still be practicing now?
Well, you have to understand the situation of the global situation. First, the Nigerian economy was in a bad state, just as it was trying to get out of the corner. Then the Middle East crisis started, and then inflation is going backward, and price of fuel has gone up as well, so it's affecting everybody. But the reality is, the bouquet skin saver, like you said, is a product of poverty. If people are not poor, they will not need 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira to be paid to them in exchange for their vote. They will vote their conscience. But there's so poverty, and we have to get to a point in which we do not make poverty a virtue. We shouldn't make poverty a means of seeking votes, and I do not subscribe to that. I subscribe to people being empowered to be able to fend for themselves. I could speak today, I could speak without fear or favor, because I have a good education and I have economic independence. I'm not afraid for my next meal. This person you talk to may not be in the same position, and his own views will be different. So it's, us dealing with the economic situation and then the educational situation, and then things will improve. For now, it will take a while for us to get to that. So what we should pray is that the next, the second term of Ashiwaju, things will keep improving. And then as people get economic independence, the ability to vote to their conscience will increase.
Thank you very much, Honorable Adeogun. It's still your stewardship on Orange 94.5 FM. We'll now go on a short break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Please just stay with us.
What does it truly mean to serve? Is leadership about power or about responsibility? Your Stewardship, a compelling radio program that shines the spotlight on individuals in positions of service and the impact they've made or are still making on the people they serve.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, this is your Stewardship on Orange 94.5 FM. You can listen to us on Radio Garden. Follow us on our Facebook page, Orange 94.5 FM. Instagram, Orange 94.5 FM, Akure, and on X handle at Orange 945 FM. You can go to our YouTube page and subscribe to our channel, Orange 94.5 FM. All right, our guest today, Honorable Adejoro Adeogun, is still very much with us. And let's look at the public perception about you. Now, Honorable, we're glad that you're still very much with us. You are often described as a principled lawmaker. In the Ninth Assembly, which was frequently criticized for being a rubber stamp to the executive, can you name a moment where your principles forced you to stand against the tide of your own party, APC, for the benefit of the public?
I never had to stand against the tide of my party, but I could give you two instances where my principal stance almost caused a conflict. One was the foreign, embassies, the UK, US, and all that, and a few others, issued a press statement asking people to evacuate Abuja. And it created a lot of panic in Abuja, and people were running away. I had to approach the then National Security Advisor that we have to stand up to these people and defend our country. So I granted an interview to Punch newspaper, which I described the countries not being friends of Nigeria, and that, friends don't throw their own friends under the bus. 2 days later, the then Deputy High Commissioner in the UK Embassy sent me a message on WhatsApp to send me the newspaper, the link, and then a message to ask if they quoted me rightly, and I said yes, and that I was representing a people, I was representing a committee, and I spoke with my committee and the composition of my committee. He issues subtle threats. You see, for every other person, you'll be afraid, what would they do? They'll revoke your visa, they'll do this, and then for someone who have kids overseas, it will create fear. But I just stood my ground because I felt like, look, at this point in time, the interests of Nigeria superseded mine. And my position to him was that if you have the intelligence, that's how you operate in the intelligence world. If you had any, there would be security threats in Nigeria. What you were supposed to do was to exchange that intelligence with Nigeria and let them solve the problem. That, look, you can notice that there's going to be fire in your neighbor's house. You call your neighbor and say, there's going to be fire in your house. Let's quench it together. But you will not go on, outside and scream to everybody, so don't come to this street to my neighbor's house fire. They're two different things. That's whole time. He didn't like that. And the second one was the committee that investigated management of recovered loot. And the then Attorney General came before us, and we had an exchange that wasn't exactly the most pleasant. And then a few days later, they started investigating me. They moved from me, investigated my wife, who incidentally does not even have anything to do with government. And why? The whole idea was to intimidate me. But then, because I wasn't in public service for anybody's fund, so I'm sure that after they investigated, they found out I was poorer than they thought, because I didn't have any money, that wasn't accounted for. So, but those were moments that thought, okay, yeah, your principles could bring challenges, but you have to be bold to stand your ground.
There is often a disconnect between a leader's self-assessment and the voters' verdict. How do you respond to those in your constituency who feel your focus was more on national security debates in Abuja than on the local roads and markets in Akoko land?
I'll be shocked if anybody said that, because I'm going to tell you what I did. Iwaro Road from a bridge, I did that. I built civic centers in Obakoko, in Ayegole, Audo. I built schools in Shupari, 6 classrooms, 3 classrooms in Akumba. I provided homes. I built a motor park in Oka, built 6 bridges in Oka. built about 1 kilometer of road and amongst other. I mean, it was saying 4 years. Renovated a whole secondary school in Nipesi. Built a park in Ishua. Provided waters, motorized borehole in 7 communities. I'm giving you just without having to think. I provided support to farmers. I provided tools to at least 500 artisans. I mean, we're not saying it's not a ralata, proper tools and all that to them. So we did a lot to assist people. So nobody will accuse me of not of neglecting the constitution. No, I did not. But in terms of dealing with security, I was vice chairman of Committee of National Security, which means I had a focus. The National Assembly is not an omnibus place. It's a place where if you're placed in a position, you have to optimize your performance in that position. Because of my background, I was in security, and then I had to do everything in that area to at least make security very vital.
Looking at your time at the 9th National Assembly and what's obtainable today at the 10th Assembly, what would you say is different, and how the issue of insecurity was handled then during your time versus what's been done today? The old...
it would be wrong to compare one situation with the other without knowing the circumstances. I knew what happened in the night assembly. I know the challenges we face. I do not know the challenges they face now. So it would be uncharitable to do like for like comparison without knowing the underlying situation.
All right. Like you said, you are not there, so you might not be able to say much about it. But our armed forces have been in the eye of the storm with high spate of insecurity. What are we doing wrong as it is? I mean, the situation is only being exacerbated. What should be done, especially given your area as a security agent? What do you think can be done to stop, if possible, this security challenge that has bedeviled our nation, that people are now living in fear? We are no longer free.
First, I'll say I commend the Nigerian Armed Forces and security agencies for what they're doing. I have friends, former colleagues, family members who are still in this area, so I have a fair idea of the challenges they're facing, and I know they're doing a lot. They're making tremendous sacrifices, for this country, and I must commend them. But there's a gap that we need to fill, and that's the idea that security is their problem, not our problem. Nigerians have not fully taken ownership of our security. In every situation, security is holistic, which means it is the people and the government, the security forces and the people. The people provide intelligence at any point in time without any fear, unhindered, and provide enough resources. The government provides enough resources, support the agencies. Now you have to look at this, that over the years there's been a gap between the people and the government, the people and security forces. We need to bridge that and allow Nigerians to take ownership. When they take ownership, it becomes much easier. Those who are criminals embedded among them will be able to, volunteer intelligence and assist the security agencies to extricate the criminals from amongst them. I mean, look at what happened around the airport in Akure recently. I mean, there were people who started farming on airport land and then were using it as ground to kidnap people. Rather than the community and people around our state to look at it that there may be a problem, we started playing politics with it until they were found out and extricated. So, I unfortunately, whenever I was screaming, headsmen, it turns out that there were indigents of the communities involved and collaborating with the criminals. So you have that all around. We need to build that synergy between the governed and the government, between the security forces and the citizens to create a more robust and holistic attempt to solve our security problems.
All right. Some people have also said that reintegrating criminals into the society, like some people say that they need to be forgiven if given the chance. If they've repented, they should be reintegrated. And we also know that some of them are even taken to the military. It's okay to forgive criminals, kidnappers, bandits, or whatever nomenclature they want to use for them. And they've also advocated that they should be reintegrated into the society in as much as they've repented. What say you about this? Do you think it's okay to reintegrate them back into the society, or they should face the music of whatever offense they have committed? I mean, even the word of God says, if you kill, you should be killed back. What say you about this?
I think we need to look at it from the perspective of the law provides for a means of solving a problem like this. If a man commits a crime, the law says you should take the man to court, let the court decide the guilt. If he's guilty, let him serve the punishment. Will be rehabilitated at the correctional center, not before. You don't grant amnesty to a criminal, then you're encouraging criminality. So I do not subscribe to that. I've been against amnesty since 2004, when Nigeria thought about it for the first time, and my position still hasn't changed. If a man commits crime, let him face the music. Then while he's serving terms, he can, be rehabilitated. That's why the place is called correctional centers. That's where to correct him. A man can't commit crime and then you take him to a place, feed him for 3 months and tell the world that he has been corrected. You don't get corrected from being pampered, you get corrected from serving terms.
All right, in Rivers State, you spearheaded the C4 security system. Years later, can we objectively say that the system fundamentally improved the safety of the average citizen, especially given critics' claims that it was merely an expensive technological monument?
It's easy for people to say all manner of things, years after something happened. But first, you have to understand the circumstances of the period when we started the C4I. There was militancy. And this was before the second amnesty. And so we needed to contain it and make a state secure. And we provided it. We provided a base for the Nigerian police to have the counter-terrorism squad. The first set of counter-terrorist officers that were trained in Nigeria were trained by us. So that formed the basis. So, people saying all manner of things now is, I'll consider it as, facts after the matter. It's irrelevant at this point in time. But at the time it was formed, it did well. I mean, I'm aware that the same team that set up the C4I eventually set up a robust system for NEMASA. And NEMASA is still using it up to today with aircraft, with drones, with gunships and all that. The same people set up the C4I, set up the security architecture for NEMASA.
Earlier on, we spoke about the Nigerian Armed Forces. What will you say is lacking? Why are we not where we are supposed to be? You gave kudos to them. You said they are doing well. Is it in terms of human resources that we need to work on, or in terms of equipment that should be used? Like a lot of people have been calling that our security architect, there should be more drones to be able to, detect these criminals on time. Where will you say we are still lagging behind, and what should be done?
First, we need to understand that the military is naturally trained for warfare, not asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare means you're looking for someone that is a moving object. If you've ever handled a firearms, it's always difficult to shoot at something that is moving, because when you're focusing, it's moving away from the place you focus. That's the problem the military is facing. They're facing an asymmetric warfare where the people they're fighting are not sitting in one location. They don't know them, and in most cases, they're embedded with the people. I mean, I remember there was a recent incident involving the Air Force, and people were claiming that civilians were casualties. And, of course, there'll be issues like that. So it's more difficult. If you're trying to extricate, a bug from your shirt, you won't tear the shirt. You have to tactically remove the bug. That's the problem. That's what, the military is, dealing with. And we must have it too that for a long time, we didn't train for this kind of warfare. We did not train for it. And there's not a single country who's found it difficult to find it easy to deal with terrorism. America couldn't solve the problem in Iraq. They couldn't solve the problem in Afghanistan. They ran away from Vietnam because asymmetric warfare is difficult.
All right, looking at your legacy scorecard, when the history of the 9th National Assembly is written, will Honorable Adejoro Adeogun be remembered, and what for?
I will be remembered. I'm still alive, so I'm not dying anytime soon.
Of course not.
But I think I've been known more for being someone with a good heart. A man who loves people genuinely. A man who loves his people genuinely. A man who wants to serve without expecting any return. Who do not desire to earn any income or any accolade from service. I tell people, I'm not going to be a chief, not today, not tomorrow, because I'm entitled to being one. I do not need to wear agbada to feel good. I do not need to be addressed as senator to feel good. I'm just happy in my own skin. So I'm just a man who loves God, who loves his people, and who wants to serve God through politics.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate your stewardship in terms of transformative leadership, not just doing the job, but changing the system for those who come after you?
I'll rate myself as an 8. Wow. I took away 2 because even me, I am aware that there is a lot I could have done more. There's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm believing God that God will give me another opportunity to serve in a capacity where I can actually raise the bar, where I can make people proud, where I can walk out at the end of my service this year, and people will see my children out there and say, your father was a good man.
Well, that's a very good one on the scale of 8. 8 is that's an A, and I believe that coming in for this new term, you want to come in as a senator, you might be able to work on those areas that you were unable to. Let's look at the corruption in Nigeria, which a lot of people says it has eaten deep into the fabric of our system. How do we deal with that? How do you intend to deal with that as a person? And what advice will you give generally to leaders in the area of corruption?
I think we should not look at corruption in isolation. Corruption is everywhere. It's in America, it's in the United Kingdom, it's in Canada, it's in every country. Now, the reason the reason we celebrate corruption in Nigeria is because of the level of poverty and then the fact that we allow impunity. Corruption thrives where people are not punished for being corrupt. And in our society, if a man who does not have a motorbike suddenly starts riding a Rolls Royce and then will start applauding him, there will be more corruption. Because now with social media, people are living fake lives. So we encourage corruption because of the values that we cherish. If I wake up tomorrow now and I wear agbada, and of course when you wear agbada, you have to move your shoulder up, and people like my agbada, people will be hailing me. Nobody's going to ask, how did he get the money to buy this agbada? Can he afford it? So that's where we should start dealing with. The social system itself needs to be restructured to the situation that either existed in Nigeria, where a man buys a phone and people around says, well, where did he get the money to buy this? Where a child brings home a new then it wasn't just a fine, it took a whole village. If people steal, it used to be a thing of shame, but now people steal and they're celebrated. So we need to deal with that and then let the law, we should punish people. There should be no sacred cows. And if the man commits a crime today and escape for 10 years, let him be hunted down for after that 10 years. Nobody should go scot-free. Even if he turns 80, 70 years after committing a crime, he should still be punished 70 years after. Once we have that, people will be discouraged.
Well, let the law take its course and people should be punished for their action. Thank you very much indeed for your time. with us, Honorable Adeogun. It's really nice having you on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
All right, so we have spent time dissecting the journey of Honorable Adejoro Adeogun from the intelligence hallways of the DSS to the legislative floor in Abuja. His story is a reminder that leadership is not just about the positions we hold, but the accountability we hold to those who put us there. Thank you very much indeed for your time with us on Stewardship. Join us next time as we continue to weigh the impact of those who lead. I am your host, Remilekun Allen, and I would like to appreciate the efforts of those who made this program a reality. The producer, Femi Ayekomilogbon, associate producer, Obi Chukwemeka Oti, and all the other crew members. Thank you, as always. To the public, keep those in power accountable and hold yourself to the same standard. Bye for now.